Hello, I'm Jacob Jones, the STEP Center Director, and on behalf of the team, we welcome you to the 2024 site visit of the Science and Technologies for Phosphorus Sustainability Center, or STEPS. We're excited to greet you in person in a few weeks at the Joint School for Nanoscience and Nanoengineering at Greensboro, which is a partnership between UNC Greensboro and North Carolina A&T State University. In this short 10-minute pre-recorded video, we'll provide an overview of the STEPS Center, focusing on value added. In this overview, we'll start with 3 background slides, then we'll define value added and use the rest of the time to provide highlights of value added activities and outcomes. And this short video can supplement more complete examples in the annual report. The need for an interdisciplinary center on phosphorus sustainability is illustrated on this opening slide. All living things need phosphorus to grow. It's essential as a nutrient for animals, plants, and microbes. In the food system, it's also a critical nutrient in fertilizers that drives plant growth and therefore crop yields. But the way we use phosphorus is unsustainable. We mine it from non-renewable resources. We use it inefficiently in the food system, with some of the phosphorus becoming a pollutant. For example, when it enters surface waters, it can cause freshwater eutrophication and associated algal blooms, fish kills, and subsequently causes emission of methane, a harmful greenhouse gas. Importantly, since the 1950s, society has increased its reliance on mined phosphorus by an order of magnitude, meaning that we're becoming more reliant on a non-renewable resource to feed our world's growing population. So the challenges are here and now, and there is urgency in the need. The STEP's vision is to facilitate a 25% reduction in human dependence on mined phosphates and a 25% reduction in losses of point and non-point sources of phosphorus to soils and water resources within 25 years, leading to enhanced resilience of the food system and reduced environmental damage. It's an ambitious and aspirational vision. It's meant to both inspire STEPS participants and others who work on phosphorus sustainability, but also be quantitative enough to help direct and prioritize STEPS activities. For example, the phosphorus flow diagram shown at the right was a centerpiece of last year's site visit because of its role at helping STEPS participants to integrate diverse contributions to a very large and complex system. And finally, the vision is inclusive. The first word is to facilitate, meaning that STEPS advances the vision, but also leads others toward the vision. A value-added example shown later, the phosphorus roadmap, is one example of that leadership and visibility. In this final background slide, we emphasize that STEPS integrates diverse disciplinary expertise, and only a few representative disciplines can be fit on this slide, categorized at the length scales at which they typically work. These 3 length scales are the research themes in STEPS, although it's more important to emphasize the research projects in STEPS cut across multiple research themes, a structure that by design is value added to the research, which would be difficult, if not impossible, to do outside of a center scale approach. By the time of the site visit, it will be 2 years and 8 months since STEPS was awarded. We've accomplished a lot in that time, and the milestones shown here only illustrate the evolution of site visit format and focus, as well as several other in-person meetings that has brought the team together. We emphasize on this slide that STEPS research projects are cyclic with an RFP process. Although we've evaluated and supported a few research projects off cycle, most of the projects align with the NSF budget periods, with the most recent set of year 3 projects beginning this past October. And to the focus of the site visit on value added, the RFP process allows research to evolve and undergo periodic peer review. This iteration, emerging, and integration of new ideas is an innate way of adding value through a center scale approach. The team's interpretation of value added is shared on this slide. Value added is demonstrated by significant innovations or outcomes that would not have been possible without the center's existence. The remainder of the presentation will provide several value-added highlights, and given the time limits, more examples can be found in the annual report and will be introduced at the site visit. The first of 3 research highlights is shared on this slide. In STEPS, something called a Technical Working Group, or TWG, was created as a mechanism to formally inform research proposals and projects. This past year, a new TWG of wastewater operators and managers and environmental consultants around the topic of biological phosphorus removal was formed. Working with a center structure and through the iterative RFP process, we're able to have the flexibility to create such groups and create new project ideas that are most collaborative with stakeholders. Beyond that, the TWG participants discovered additional value at the workshop by sharing for the first time information about biopeak processes across different wastewater facilities. And the TWG continues as a mechanism to keep them integrated with each other and the research project. The second research highlight is hot off the presses. When STEPS participants were invited to contribute a global perspective to ES&T several months ago, they brainstormed and saw an opportunity to create something new, something that was outside their existing research projects and therefore value added, and something that required deep collaboration and integration. The product of their work is a paper that highlights how unanticipated events and cascading effects impact phosphorus markets globally. Exogenous shocks like war, pandemic, natural disasters, things we're becoming too familiar with these days. The team further identifies 3 pathways to enhancing system resilience, which are highlighted there at the bottom. The third research highlight is shared on this slide. STEPS researcher Luke Gattiboni joined an interagency committee in North Carolina that used data from multiple sources to make new recommendations for lower phosphorus fertilization rates in North Carolina. These new rates were adopted by the NC Department of Agriculture and are used to make recommendations to hundreds of thousands of farmers every year. If everyone follows the new recommendation, the state would save 5.5 million pounds of P2O5 annually, equating to several $million in fertilizer costs. This example is a non-traditional research product, an extension publication that has immediate and strong real-world impacts on reducing phosphorus use. You've already heard about the TWG in which knowledge transfer was involved. A few additional highlights are shared on this slide. As we presented last year, STEPS hosted the 2022 Sustainable Phosphorus Summit, bringing a couple of hundred global researchers together, evidence of global visibility and leadership of STEPS. In 2022 and 2024, we also co-hosted the Phosphorus Forum, along with our partner, the Sustainable Phosphorus Alliance. By collaborating, the P Forum event brings more academics together with industry researchers in a way that was not previously achieved. In 2022, we used this event to kick off a process to generate a roadmap for U.S. phosphorus sustainability, led by STEPS partner RTI International and using many working groups and stakeholders. The roadmap identifies and prioritizes 9 impact opportunities that help to direct other researchers across the country. And many of these opportunities are areas where STEPS is already advancing research. The one identified as transformative, though, at the top is increasing awareness. For this reason, and in celebration of the 15th element on the periodic table, STEPS created and leads this annual initiative, Phosphorus Week, to increase awareness of phosphorus sustainability. This includes significant online campaigns, but also some in-person activities. This past year, STEPS also created and disseminated a media package so that others could better participate, the logos of whom are shared there around the bottom. This effort is yet another way in which STEPS demonstrates international visibility and leadership in the space of phosphorus sustainability. On the right, another educational highlight comes in the form of a podcast that was created and is led by scholars. The podcast, called Phosphor Us, with careful capitalization, is available to the public on Spotify and Google and Apple Podcasts, and demonstrates value added by scholars collaborating across the center, as well as their international reach. In broadening participation, we elevate a program called STEPS Explorers to your attention, which brings in high school students who are from underrepresented minority groups for a week in the summer to undertake problem-based learning modules. The program continues to engage the students after their summer experience. The students interact with the program throughout the entire year and have presented posters and presentations already. You'll meet a handful of these high school STEPS scholars at the site visit in June. The STEPS BP team is also establishing best practices for the center and conducting research on sense of belonging. And finally, in the lower right, we highlight a letter co-authored by several STEPS participants that introduces approaches in academic environments, such as centers like ours, to attract, include, and prepare Black Americans and people of color for leadership roles in STEM and agriculture fields, adding value by learning from our experiences across multiple initiatives, including STEPS. On this final slide, we close by highlighting some student successes that have added value to the center. 9 scholars who have brought in or won a significant fraction of their support to conduct work within STEPS. This includes NSF fellowships, support from the GI Bill, fellowships from the Southeast Climate Adaptation Science Center, and prestigious NCANT Chancellor's Fellowships. You'll hear more awards that the students have received at the site visit. And with that, we thank you for your interest and attention and look forward to seeing you on June 4th.